Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Thank you for watching this video. So in this video, we continue on the previous class that we have discussed in class regarding the internet, chapter 1. Okay, so in the previous class, we already talked about the internet. Okay, so basically, you should know what is the internet. It's come from the giant network. We have network over network, multiple network combined together. Then we have the internet. Okay, this one is the key point: internet and the giant wide area network. So internet is equal to giant wide area network. So basically, it's start from a network, and then we have multiple network connected together. Then it become an internet. So internet is referred to the interconnected network. And the history before that we have discussed is start from the ARPANET project. It is a military project around 1969, and then after the military part, it's going to the public. Okay, starting from the private project, and then we expose them to the public, so we able to use the internet right now. Okay, so basically, when we do communication through the internet, we use the TCP protocol, and then IP protocol or internet protocol is the most common protocol that we use in order to communicate with a different network. And then the main motivation to have internet, first we want to share the resources. Yes, share the resources, share the information, as well as for the communication. So there are three main motivations that lead to the developments of share the resources, information, as well as the communication. So by having the internet, we're able to share the resources that we have, we're able to share the information that we have, the data, the storage, the memory file that we have to the others, and in the same time we also allow for the communication, because we have internet now, we have the WhatsApp, we have the Telegram, we're able to do chatting among us, we the possibility to have video the video call from one group to another group. So it's allow us for the communication, even we are at the different geolocation. So here is a little bit regarding the history timeline. You can find through the internet the more information regarding the internet history or internet timeline from the beginning years until 2023. Okay, this one is show based on 1958 until 2019, and this timeline is based on the resources Spencer Trust Institute. Okay, maybe you can find the current version or current time. So this one we have discussed in class: network and internet. So network is the communication system for connecting any system, and system is referred to the nodes. Nodes can be up your tablet, and your devices or network devices. So usually we use the internet uh to communicate, distribute the information. Have the internet, we're able to connect to the outsider, we're able to store the data on the cloud, we're able to retrieve the information, loading, and then through the communications, we need the transmission medium. There are two main transmission medium. We have the unguided and guided transmission media. So guided refer to the cable and unguided refer to the wireless communications. So wireless communications, it's have several types. Say we can have the Bluetooth, we can have the radio wave, and many more. Okay, for the cable, we have the twisted pair cable or UTP. Also have the untwisted UTP and then twisted cable. And then we also coaxial cable, fiber optic cable. So every single cable are different. In terms of the speed, in terms of the maximum distance that it's in terms of the installation process, the maintenance, the cost installations. Okay, that's refer to the transmission media. And then we have the topology, means the physical layout for the network. So basically, we have point to point and multi-point access. Point to point refer to the peer to peer, mean from one device to another device, communicate through one port. Also have the multi-point, just like the client server. So basically, we have two type of architecture: peer to peer and client server. So in peer to peer, we have the same capability, we have the same responsibility, but in client server, the task, the role are different. The capabilities are different. The client must go through the server first, but he can connect the device another. Okay. And then the most basic of geographical area, we have the LAN, MAN, and WAN. So this one is type of connection. Okay, point to point or peer to peer. We have port here, connect to another port at desktop here. So it's allowed the communication through this point to point. If we talk about the multi-point, so it look like the mesh topology. So one device have multi-point to another device for the communication. So this one is based on the geographical part. We have LAN. Okay, basically we have LAN in our campus, and then we have the MAN. So in LAN, usually we use for the office or home network. Okay, so it's between 10 megabit per second to 10 gigabit per second. So in terms of the infrastructure compared to the other is more lower cost and more high in terms of the security, because it's only for our private network. Okay, basically we have the router connected to the ISP, internet service provider, and then we have hub to connect from one flow to another flow. Okay, usually we use the Cat5 or Cat6. It's based on cable for the connection or connectivity. Okay, next we have mine metropolitan. Okay, in the same city or in the entire city, it's allow the communications. So usually we have several block in the city. So based on the building, it connect to each other using the fiber connection. So inside the building, it look like this one. Outside the building, it look like this one using the fiber connection. So the coverage is wider compared to the LAN network. So using the mine, it's allow us to gather regional resources from one building to another resources. And then the next part is WAN. Okay, it's cover large area. Okay, for example, from one country to another country, you can communicate. So we do the communication in using the high speed enough network or high speed connection. So it may transfer the data over this high speed phone line or wireless link such as the satellite. Okay, so we have, let's say we have country A and then country B. So the process of communications, cable inside the sea, or we may use the satellite to allow the communication. So that's for the network. Okay, this one is more on the architecture. Peer-to-peer network means all the system have the equivalent capabilities and responsibilities. So equal peers. Equal peers. So this laptop A, laptop B, laptop C, all of them have the equal responsibility and capability. They are allowed to start the communication and to retrieve communication or do the handshake between each devices. So this one is inexpensive and easy to install peer-to-peer network. So we have two type of peer-to-peer network. We have the pure one and we have the hybrid P2P network. So a P2P system has no central service of any kind. Okay, compared to the clients and server, there is no central service. So the entire communication occur among connected peer without any assistance from any server. So this one we call as the P2P, pure to pure. Pure P2P, pure peer-to-peer network. Here some of example. We have the work group in Microsoft Windows Network, Freenet and Jutela. Okay, the second one is the hybrid P2P network. The hybrid P2P network means we combine the pure P2P, the central server. We have the like a client server. Okay. So pure P2P, it work well in the small scale environments. Say you have a group discussion for your group project, so maybe you can set up your own network because in one network only 4 to 5. But if you want to extend numbers of nodes in the network, so you need client server or the hybrid network. Okay. So hybrid P2P system depends partially on the central server or allocate selected function to a subset of the example. Here we have the what is the hybrid? Hybrids means that it's allowed the communication between one point to another point, peer to peers. But before it meets the peers, let's say A want to communicate with B, but before the process of connecting A to B, it's go through the server. So A contact the server, ask the server to allow the connection from A to B. So server will find the B and ask B questions. And then once the connection one is connected between A and B, so the process of communications is only refer from A to B. A directly go to B and B directly go to A. Okay, there is no middle person. Only for the purpose of find the laptop B or find the device B or the user B. The purpose of the server allow the A to find the person B through the server and it make the connection. One, it is connected, so the communication is between A and B. Okay, that is the hybrid P2P. Okay, next part we have the client server. So the client server, we have the clients, the nodes client, communicate through the internet, for example, in order so it connected to the server. Okay, let's say this one is A, this one is B. So A want to communicate with B, A go to the server, connect to internet, internet go to server, server allow the communication to B. B go to connect to the internet, go to the server, and the server internet. So this communication is from here connect to the internet and then go to server, server connect to the internet, go to B. B go to internet, connect to server, server internet goes to A. So we have the middle server act as the middle person that serve each of their client. At this one, client have different responsibility compared to the so server have their own. So client have an active role and initiate a communication. Right, client must go to the server in order to initiate the communication. It will send a request to the server, and server become a middle person to serve the client and allow the communication to client. So these are the difference between the peer-to-peer and client network. Okay, next part is about the communicating over the network. Okay, basically, we have two model. The most popular one, we have the OSI model, and then we also have the internet model. So in OSI model, we have 7 layers. Yeah, from the physical, data link, network, transfer, transport, station, presentation, and application. So these are the layers in the OSI model. So each of the layers have different responsibility and functions. Okay, another one is the internet model, or we call as TCP IP model. So these are the data unit layers and a function. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, data units means when we send a message to internet. For example, when we send an email to others or our friends, we have a message. So the message will be divided into the bit, frame, packet. So this refer to the data unit that we discussed at this call. Okay, physical. This one is direct point to point for the data connection. Okay, that more on the physical part at the physical layers, electronic, electrical part. Okay, and then it goes to the data link. So reliable direct point to point data connection. So at these physical layers, it deal with the bit 0101. Okay, at this layer, it deal with bit frame of the data, frame by frame. And then at the network layer, okay, this one, the function for the addressing, source destination, source and destination, source addressing, source destination addressing. So under this network layer, we deal with the packet or datagram. Okay, after network, we go for the transport layer. For transport, it reliable delivery of segment between point on a network for the segment. And then next, go to the session, internet host communication, managing session between application, create a session, allow for the communication. And then next, we have the presentation. So at the presentation layer, we have the encryption, decryption, or compress the data. And then we have the application layer. So network process to application. For example, okay, the application is G. That is the example of layer. So these are the layers that are responsible for the communicating over the network. So the process is layers from your devices. Go for the physical, go to the data link, then go to the network layers, and from that network, go for transportation of your data, and then it's open the session for the communication. Go for the presentation, encryption, decryption, and compress your data, and then go for that. If you are the one who want to send the data, you go to the application first, and then the data will go from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1 go to right. So this is the communication uh, using the OSI model. Okay, so next we talk about the TCP/IP model or internet model. Okay. This one is the OSI model, and this one is the TCP/IP model. So the difference, this one is consists of 7 layers from physical to application. For TCP and IP model, we have 5 layers. Okay, the physical part or the hardware, we have the network, internet, transport, and application. So we combine these three, become an application layers. So which one is come first? You can refer to the books in order to find the answer. Either OSI first or internet model first. Okay, in 1984, OSI reference model was approved by an international standard for communication architecture. So OSI model is introduced by the ISO standard organization. So the word open there, okay, OSI refer to the open system. So the word open denotes the ability to connect any two systems which conform to the reference model and associated. It's allow the communication from multiple systems. Yeah, the OSI model was considered the primary architecture model for intercomputer communications and describe how information or data makes its way from application program, means the process of storing the data, okay, such as the spreadsheets, through the network medium, means the process of transferring the data from one to another one, from one to another one through the network as a medium. So it's divide the problem for of moving the information between computers over network medium. So we actually it is a complicated process, but using the OSI model, we can try to simplify it in order to understand from layers. So based on the OSI, it divides the problem of moving the information between computers over the networks based on layers into 7 smaller layers. So manageable is more easy for explanation and manageable that layer. Yeah, the process of breaking up the function of tasks of the networking into layers reduce the complexity. As I mentioned before, the process of transferring is complex. In order to make it more simple, it's divided into, so the explanation is based on layers. So each layers provides service to the above layers, and different protocols will be used different layers. So each layers communicate with the same layers software or hardware in other computers. Computer E at the physical layer, it will communicate with physical layers. Goes to data layers, it go to the communication based on the layer. Okay. This one is Internet or TCP/IP SUIT protocol, what we call as TCP/IP SUIT protocol, because it's differentiate based on the protocol. So we have the physical, refer to the hardware part, data link layer, internet, transport, and applications. Combine 3 layers from the OSI model. So look at the application layers. So this is the upper layers of this model. Okay, it's command presentation, session, and application. So at this part, at these layers, there are several protocol that are most common used in order for communications. For example, if you want to send an email, so it involves SMTP protocol. Okay. If we want to use for remote login, so we use the telnet protocol. If you want to transfer the file, we use the FTP protocol. So you can refer to this. Those we have several protocol involved in this application layers. Next, we go for the transport layers. So this one is responsible for reliable source to destination. Source to the destination, because we want to transfer the data. So they must have the information regarding the sources as well as the destination for the entire message of the data they will want to transport. So roughly it's equivalent to the transport layer at the OSI model. And it's provide end-to-end communication. So basically, under transport layer, there are two common protocol being used, TCP and UDP. Okay, you can find more. What is the TCP and UDP? What the difference between TCP and UDP? One is transport protocol. Another one is datagram protocol. So basically, if we learn later on HTTP, we have an object based on a TCP connection. So TCP means it's more on connection oriented. You must make a connectivity between two in order to transport the data. UDP is connectionless. You can send the data without have it to be connected together. Next layer is internet layers. So this one, all internet transport protocol use the IP, internet protocol or IP address, to carry the data from the source to the destination. So IP is a connectionless or datagram internet services. So it's providing no end-to-end delivery guarantees. And then IP datagram may arrive at destination, host damage, duplicated, out of order, or not at all. Okay, so the internet control message protocol, ICMP, is a control protocol that is considered an integral part of the internet protocol. So these are some of the protocol that being responsible or used at this internet layer. We have the IP, we have the ICMP, we may have the IGMP for Internet Group Management protocol that responsible or provide the services at the internet layers. So the next layers, we have link, data link. So this one to communicate on a directly connected network. Okay, so it's a responsibility for delivery frame to frame. Okay, responsibility to correct the delivery of messages. And the last part is the physical. So it provides the physical interface for the transmission information. So it will define the rule by which bits are passed from one system to another system. So at this layer, it covers the mechanical and electrical, the procedural, as well as the functional or physical communication, which device they use. Okay, the hardware part. So that's for the TCP/IP suite protocol. Okay, the next part is internet addressing. Okay, this one we have the hourglass architecture for the internet. Okay, hourglass. Why we use the hourglass? Because we have the bottleneck at the middle. So this one is referred to the individual application. Your email, your phones, your application, your mobile phone application, your chatting application. If you stream the file, that's referred to Netflix, refer to the Disney Hotstar, YouTube. Email, refer to the SMTP, the RTP, the HTTP protocol. Okay, transferring the data using this TCP, UDP, and then more on the security. Okay, this one refer to a browser or application, uh, protocol involved. Okay, more on individual apps based on what are the application used. Okay, and then it has the bottleneck here. Okay, at this part is referred to the IP packets that will being transferred from the many application. We use the IP packet, so IP packet will transfer to the individual link here. So this one is the individual link. So it look like the hourglass. More information regarding the hourglass architecture, you can find through the internet or refer to the reference book. Next part is about the internet addressing. We have the IP protocol or internet protocol. So we have several versions. We have version 4 and version 6. But in this course, we focus on IPv4. But IPv6 is just your additional information. You can Google it and find through the internet or any journal or any articles that you can find from the internet or find from the books. So this one is the most successful protocol that being ever developed. Okay, start at the beginning, on the project for the communications until now we still use the IP. So IP is referred to the unique address, unique numbers. Okay, unique numbers. So when we talk about the IPv4, IP version 4, it consists of 32 bits. Size means size of the IP, size of the address, and then 8-bit field for like octet. Okay, so it's represented in decimal. Okay, 17.112.152.32. This one is an example. It can be represented in the decimal and always represented in decimal, but you also can change it into the binary or decimal you. And then one octet is equal. It consists of from starting from 0 to 255. So numbers is total number is 256. 2 power of 8. Okay, 2 power of 8 equal to 256. So each octet consists of 0 to 55. So it means the minimum number is 0 and the maximum number 255. It cannot be more than 255. So this is the format of the IP. So this one we go for the addressing part. Okay, based on the URL that we always use. Want to find resources through the internet. For the generic anatomy of the URL, we have the protocol here, followed by the domain name, the path refer to the folder, and the file name. Okay, example here. HTTPS refer to this protocol with the security protocol. Go for the domain name, teamsweb.uitm.edu.my. This one is refer to the domain name. And then portal underscore applications, portal underscore login. This one refer to the path, means the directory. Get this file. So this is the file name that we refer to, index.html. So this one is the generic anatomy or generic format of the URL. Okay. Domain name refer to the domain name, or it has the hierarchy. So this one is the DNS hierarchy. Okay, we have the root. Okay, for example, we have the root. From the root, it will goes to the TLD servers. Okay, it depends on the server, what server that you use here. And then from the server, it go for the authoritative server. Okay, root DNS. This one is the DNS hierarchy. How to find the domain. Okay, go back to the format. We have the protocol. So the protocol, the description, it will specify the transfer protocol that will be used for retrieval of the desired resources. Example, we have HTTPS here. Okay, we can have the FTP or HTTP. What are the protocol involved? Okay, the next one we have the domain name. So domain name here is referred to the name of host name. Okay, so basically it's divided into three parts. www, some of them is optional. We just can go for the uitm.com, for example. Yeah, and then the second level name, example here, dtu.ac, and the third level name. So this is the basic domain name. So this example of the domain name. And then the path refer to the folder directory on the server side, not on your computer, but at the server side. Okay, and then the file name. So this one also at the file from which directory, which domain. Okay. So these are three type of internet addressing. We have URN, URI, and URL. URL, the things that we have discussed in the previous slide. Okay, URL here contain information about how to fetch a resource from its location. URI here is the way to identify the content. IR forward to identify the resources. URN is the concept or ideas. Okay, there are no restriction to identifying the document. When URN does represent a document, it can be translated into the URL by a resolver. So basically, what we deal with, we'll deal with is the URL. So if we give the analogy, we can say that URN is the unique, like ISBN of the book. You are refer to the URN, the content. Okay, the content or the ideas. URI represent the content of the book. RL refer to the location of the book. Okay, let's say in the library, URL refer to the location, which flow, which books, and refer to the unique name, the book ISBN. RI refer to the end of the RN UIN URL. Most common that we deal with is URL. Okay. Just now you know the communication over the network. Next part is the accessing the internet. Okay, access the internet. So basically, when we want to access to the internet, we must have buy the services from the ISP, Internet Service Provider. In Malaysia, the most common one is TM. Okay, TM. You also can get the service from Celcom, Maxis, DG, and so on. Okay, so we must connect it to the ISP in order to use services. Okay, so accessing the internet, we can use dial up, high speed, and wireless. Okay, dial up, the previous one, I think you don't have the experience using the dial up. You just go for the wireless. Maybe some of you never use the cable in order to connect to the internet. Okay, that is the evolution of the accessing the internet. Okay. So internet service provider, go to NSP and AP. You can read more on the book reading what is NSP and AP and POP. So these are several tiers. Okay, for example, we have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Okay, tier 1, ISP that have national or international coverage at the center. You look at the E1 network. Okay, the process. T1. T2 ISP, which are smaller. So this one international or national at the center. T2 we have more smaller. Okay. And then tier 3 ISP and local ISP, which are the home access network closest to the end system. Tier 3. Okay, home network connect to the ISP. ISP connect to the internet user. Okay. These are several tiers in accessing the internet. For here, uh, we are the internet users connect to the tier 3. Okay, usually tier 3 is the home network, and then this network will connect to the tier 2, and tier 2 will connect to the tier 1, the national and international coverage center. Okay, some of them we can go from here to here to here, or from here direct to this one, or from here direct to tier 2. Depends on the situation. So there are three tier of accessing the internet. Okay, next part. Usually we access the internet through the web browser. You should know what is the web browser. Okay, web browser. We may have several web browser. Opera, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Mozilla. So that's are the web browsers and the function of the web browser. So we can say that web browser is a program that allow you to access the internet. It will interpret the markup languages. So basic function, interpret the HTML markup and present document visually. Second, support the hyperlink in the HTML document so that when you click on the link, it will lead you to the HTML file, the corresponding HTML file. And then use HTML form and the HTTP protocol to send requests and data to web applications and send all cookies back to the website if they are stored by the web application at the websites. Okay, if you want more on the cookies, what is the cookies, you can refer to the book. But basically, we need a web browser in order to find the information through the internet. A web browser is a application program. Okay, next part is the organizations that are responsible or have interest on the internet. Okay, first we have Internet Society, ISOC. So this organization concerned with the long-term coordination of the internet development. Okay, IETF is another organization, Internet Engineering Task Force. One is an open international community of the network professional and experts. So this organization or this body have the missions in order to produce a high quality technical document for improving the internet quality and performance. And then we also have the ICANN, Internet Corporation for Assigned Name and Numbers. So formerly it's known as the NIC, but the current name is ICANN. One is organization under Californian rights. So the responsibility of ICANN are IP address space allocations, a generic top level domain, and country code TLD. Top level domain, DNS management. Too. Okay, this one is organization that decide about the introduction of the refer to the top level. Next, we have IANA, Internet Assigned Number Authority. Like the ICANN, it manages different duties of ICANN, the TLD, the protocol number, IP address, and AS, Autonomous System Management. Okay, we also have Internet Architecture Board. The IAB, this one is the organization that are responsible for internet architecture, the protocol development, the standards of the internet architecture. Then we have IESG, Internet Engineering Steering Group. This organization carries out the technical management of IETF, the engineering task force before, and the internet standard process. Okay, we also have Internet Research Task Force, IRTF. This organization conduct research on the protocol, application, architecture, and the technology that related to the internet. And then IRSG, Internet Research Steering Group. So this one responsible for steering the IRTF and provide good condition for research carried by the IRF. And then most common one for the internet that we learn is about the World Wide Web Consortium. So this W3C can refer to the W3 schools in order to learn more on the front end technology and scripting, priming, and framework. So this W3C, develop web technology standards. So we can refer to the standards, and it is not directly related to the IETF, IABO, ISOC. So when we talk about the web, we more go for the W3C standards. And then the Regional Internet Registry, IRR, this organization responsible for the management and allocation of the internet number resources, IP address, and AS number. Auto- the, the autonomous. Okay. Those are several organizations. We may have more than that you should. National Standard Organizations and the W3 organization that's more specifically on the web standard. On the web standard. Okay, the next part is about the cyber ethic. Computer science student, you should learn or take note on the cyber law. But we don't learn cyber law at this course. Only give highlight on several cyber ethics that as a internet user should know. So cyber ethic refer to the code of conduct, code of responsible behavior on the internet means what are the behavior that you should use when you deal on online. And so basic the law of society and cyberspace. Mannerism when using the internet include responsible human behavior, respecting privacy, and avoiding plagiarism. Avoiding plagiarism. Plagiat. So basically, it's about cyber ethic, and we are on or we use the internet at the space. We need to carry out the behavior, the respectiveness, the ethic that we have our life as a human. We also need to respect the privacy, respect the property. Yeah, a cyber smart citizen is exposed ethically and responsibly while using other cyber smart citizen. Other cyber smart citizen because we learn about it. A good cyber citizen should practice the basic internet. Basic internet means refer to the ethic on internet. Ethic. It includes First, communicating, sharing, contribute to society in positive manner. Okay, if you want to share the legal sources. Share the legal. Want to communicate or communicate in positive manner. Want to contribute through story. Okay. Second, to be respectful and cautious in communication. When you communicate through the cyberspace, you respect the people, others. Do not use rude or offensive language. Oh, third, avoid harming others. Do not spread the virus, the, the false information. Do not use the others' people username and password even without any permissions. Do not any inappropriate this. Okay? Do not impersonate others and do not repass. Number four, sharing network resources, being honest, trustworthy. Five, on the property rights and copyright. Don't download or take software, image, text that are copied, and giving and please giving a credit to someone if you use that someone else work. Giving proper credit for intellectual property means you rights. You give the information regarding the of that property. When you please make sure you do citation properly. Okay, give the credit for the intellectual properties. Okay, that's for the cyber ethics. The next part is cyber crime. Okay, the rising number of internet users leads to the need of cyber law, and the application has also gathered a great momentum. Okay, when we talk about the cyber crime, we must have the cyber law in order to counteract with the cyber crime. Okay, cyber law can also be described as the branch of law that deal with legal issues related to use of internet work, the internet. When we talk about the cyber law, that law is specifically mean crime. As a gloomier phase of technology, cybercrime has been reported globally, and cyber law are the soft savior to combat cyber crime. So in Malaysia, cybercrime are still in new. So basically, we use the current in real life to support when we deal with crime. So that's all for this chapter. Okay, internet chapter 1. So at the end of this lecture, you should know how to differentiate between the network and internet. Give a definition what is network. You should able to describe a little bit regarding the history of the internet. Okay, the concept of communication over network, the architecture, the internet network. What is the peer-to-peer, multi-point, point-to-point, client and server, and then it should be explained layers by layers on the OSI internet model, accessing to the internet through the web browser. You should know what is the web browser, and then a little bit regarding the internet organization. But the most important is the W3C, more on the web standards, and then you should know about the cyber ethics. What is cyber ethics? What is the internet ethic? And the cyber crime. And maybe you can go for find a case study regarding the crime later on. So that's all. Thank you.